I now give the floor to the representative of the Syrian Arab Republic.
شكرا سيدة الرئيس.
Thank you, Madam President. Allow me at the outset to thank you for your efforts in conducting the work of the Security Council this month. Madam President, today we commemorate the anniversary of the brutal massacre perpetrated by Zionist militias against the people of the Palestinian town of Safsaf in 1948. This awful event reflects the mentality of the Israeli occupation and its approach based on aggression and killing. This approach continues today with a new generation of Israeli war criminals who chose to continue their barbaric crimes and violate all moral, legal, and humanitarian principles. Yes, the Israeli aggression on the Palestinian people did not start on October 7th. It started decades ago. The daily killing and systematic destruction in Gaza and the West Bank did not start last year. This is the result of decades of ongoing crimes perpetrated by the Israeli occupation against the Palestinian people who courageously tried to liberate their land and enjoy their right to self-determination while establishing an independent state. The campaigns of Israel against the Israeli campaigns against the UN agency and the Secretary General are rejected and condemned. It is trying to terrorize and silence the representative of the organization. This is yet another proof that the Israeli occupation is adopting an aggressive approach against our organization. This approach was adopted more than 7 decades ago when Zionist militias assassinated the first UN mediator to Palestine, Count Folk Bernadotte, in 1948. In this vein, we once again strongly condemn the unprecedented aggressive campaign launched by the Israeli occupation authorities against the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. We stand in solidarity with him in fighting such campaigns, and we appreciate the efforts he is making in line with his mandate. Syria also rejects the unilateral measures taken by the Israeli entity to ban the UNRWA and prevent it from conducting its work in Palestinian territories. According to Israel, UNRWA is a terrorist organization. This unprecedented, very dangerous behavior does not only affect the UNRWA, but also affects the United Nations as a whole, as an international organization and as a global forum. We call for the protection of UNRWA and its mandate, which was adopted by the General Assembly. We call for providing the necessary support to UNRWA so that it can continue to provide assistance and humanitarian services to Palestinians in their motherland and in their host countries, including Syria. We also condemn the deliberate Israeli attacks on the UNIFIL in Lebanon. We stress the need to protect the safety and security of its personnel and the safety and security of UNDOF and UNTSO so that they can continue to implement their mandate and monitor and document Israeli violations of the disengagement agreement of 1974 and reporting such violations to the Security Council. Madam President, the UN has followed the Palestinian question since its establishment. Our organization, through its different organs, has adopted hundreds of resolutions stressing its rejection of the Israeli occupation practices and crimes and calling for ending the occupation and withdrawal from occupied Arab territories. However, such resolutions are yet to be implemented because some Western permanent members claim to be the protector of Israel at the expense of international law, at the expense of the purposes and principles of our organization, at the expense of the security and stability of our region and the suffering of its people. The support provided by the United States and other Western countries has emboldened the Israeli occupation entity and its war criminals. They continued to carry out their crimes against the Palestinian people. They expanded their aggression to include brotherly Lebanon. They intensified their attacks on the land of the Syrian Arab Republic, and these attacks are being carried out almost daily. In light of the Israeli attacks on my country, which are now estimated at 116 attacks until the 21st of the current month, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of the Syrian Arab Republic, Bassam Sabbagh, sent a letter a few days ago to the Secretary General of the United Nations explaining that these attacks violate the sovereignty, territorial integrity and unity of the Syrian Arab Republic. He presented the consequences of targeting the safe houses of civilians, of civilian infrastructure, of service facilities and economic facilities, while also targeting diplomatic premises and border crossing. He called upon him to continue making every effort and ensuring that the United Nations carries out its responsibility to stop the practices of the usurper occupation, to stop the aggression and the grave violations, to ensure Israel is held accountable and ensure it does not enjoy impunity. We look forward to seeing this take place as soon as possible. Madam President, we stand in full solidarity with the Palestinian and Lebanese people in fighting the Israeli aggression and the barbaric crimes committed by the occupation authorities. We also condemn the Israeli attack on Iran, and we stress Iran's right to self-defense and to protect its people and sovereignty. On another hand, Madam President, we continue to make every effort and we continue to take the necessary measures to host our Lebanese brothers and sisters and the Syrian returnees from Lebanon, whose numbers are estimated at 500,000 people. Despite the huge needs and the weak capabilities, we are providing necessary humanitarian assistance and services, including services in terms of shelter, health, transportation, communications, and other sectors. We look forward to receiving support to such relevant efforts and to the response to the UN calls to provide emergency humanitarian response. In conclusion, Madam President, we once again call upon the Security Council to take immediate action to stop the Israeli aggression, which threatens international and regional peace and security. We call upon it to compel the occupation authorities to stop their genocide and war crimes, to ensure they are held accountable and ensure they do not enjoy impunity. We reaffirm the need to implement the relevant UN resolutions to end the Israeli occupation of Arab land in Palestine, Syria, and Lebanon. We stress that the crimes of the Israeli occupation entity will not prevent our people from continuing their struggle to enjoy their legitimate right and liberate their usurped land. We will continue to provide all the support to the Palestinian people in their legitimate quest to establish an independent, sovereign state on their national land, with Jerusalem as a capital, to become a full member of the United Nations. We also stress our inherent right to recover the occupied Syrian Arab Golan, occupied since 1967. We salute our people in the Syrian Golan. We salute their attachment to the Syrian national identity and their rejection to all plans to impose Syrian nationality on them. We call upon Mr. Tor Wensland to carry out his mandate and to stop turning a blind eye to the Israeli violations on Syria and the practices, the aggressive practices of Israel against our people in the Golan. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank the representative of the Syrian Arab Republic for